William, thank you so much for joining us and doing this. The big question over here, again, I ask you, is this appeasement or is this serious business? Does Washington, D.C. mean business when it says it's going to invest in the civilian nuclear program of Tehran?
The talks will eventually begin, and the talks can only end one of three ways. They can end with Iran agreeing to have no domestic enrichment. They can end with, and that would be the Supreme Leader blinking. They can end with Trump blinking and something short of that, or they can end with no agreement. The only answer that leads to a situation where the region is more stable, more secure, and more peaceful is the one in which the Supreme Leader blinks and gives up his asserted right to domestic enrichment. You can still have a domestic nuclear power program. Right across the Gulf, the UAE has a very good nuclear power program. They do not enrich anything domestically. They just bring it in from elsewhere, with all of the controls in place. There's nothing to prevent Iran from having that exact same model apply. They just have to decide to do that. If they do, they will get rid of an awful lot of sanctions, a lot of economic benefits for their people, and the regime may find ways to survive, given all the disasters that have come its way. If they don't, it's going to be a very difficult road.
Well, that's very interesting that you are pointing to the programs that already exist and that can be replicated in Iran. But in your understanding, in your reading, you've been monitoring very closely what Iran is doing. Do you really think that the Supreme Leader, that the Iranian leadership will blink or come back to the talking table? Because we've heard some very hard positions being taken in Tehran.
I think they are going to have to. The reality is that ever since last April, when they made the fateful decision to basically upend 40 plus years of their foreign policy and directly strike Israel. This was not through proxies. This was not a deniable attack. They had always said that they never attack anyone. People attack Iran. They changed. They threw that all out the window. They sent hundreds of projectiles into Israel designed to kill civilians. From that point forward, it has been a strategic disaster for the Iranian regime. And the reality is they are much, much, much weaker as a result of those decisions that were kicked off by decisions they made. It may take them a little while to come to understand that, but that's the reality in front of them. Their ability to project power is markedly lower. In fact, their ability even to control things inside their own populations is likely over time to diminish. If I was an advisor inside the Iranian system, I would advise the Supreme Leader do the same thing that his predecessor did to end the war with Iraq, where he said he had to drink from the poison chalice and accept this because of weaknesses. He has to do the same now.
Right. Briefly, William, if you could explain if there are any back channels that are underway for Iran and DC to come to the talking table.
There are a number of channels, some that have been in existence for a long period of time, some that are relatively new. They remember, of course, the United States and Iran were involved in negotiations, some indirect and in some cases even direct with Steve Witkoff. So they have been in contact with, they have those pre-established lines of communication. And then you have all of the Gulf Arab states and other Arab states that have direct diplomatic relations with Tehran and are able to communicate directly. So there's no way that Tehran can't hear the message that they need to have these negotiations. Frankly, they've already won something with the ceasefire being put into effect, but the ceasefire is a unilateral ceasefire at this point. That ceasefire could unravel at any moment. They need to get to the table for their own interests.
Right. William Wexler, thank you so much for joining us with that perspective and that understanding from Washington, D.C.